Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a look at some source material that might seem, well, completely disconnected at first glance.
Right.
We've got this detailed picture of a really vibrant Central American country, Costa Rica.
Mm.
And then on the other hand, we're exploring the life and really multifaceted career of Malcolm-Jamal Warner, actor, musician, a figure many of us know.
Yeah, and our goal here, is to pull out the most important bits of insight from these sources.
Kind of cut through the noise.
Exactly. Help you connect the dots, maybe uncover some surprising things, and just give you a really solid understanding without all the usual overload. Think of it as your shortcut.
And believe me, there is a connection, a hidden one, quite powerful actually, that brings these two very different topics together unexpectedly. So let's get into it. Let's start with Malcolm-Jamal Warner, his legacy. Obviously a name many of you will recognize, especially given the recent very sad news of his passing on July 20th, 2025. He was only 54.
Yes, such sad news. And his big break, of course, was The Cosby Show, playing Theodore Huxtable Theo. That was 1984 to 92.
It's a huge show.
Massive.
Mm.
And he was so young when he started, just 13. Apparently, Bill Cosby himself picked him out on the very last day of the national auditions.
Wow.
He even got an Emmy nomination for it.
Yeah.
Outstanding supporting actor.
Yeah.
And you can't overstate the show's impact, really, on black culture, American culture in general.
Yeah.
And Warner, despite everything that came out later about Cosby, he always seemed really proud of the show's positive legacy, its cultural footprint.
That makes sense. But he didn't just stay Theo, did he? He seemed to consciously try to move beyond that.
Oh, absolutely. A really deliberate effort. He did other sitcoms like Malcolm and Eddie.
Right, I remember that one.
And Read Between the Lines later on. But what's interesting is The Cosby Show was actually his first comedy role.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he'd done drama before, like theater, some guest spots. So he actively looked for more dramatic work afterwards.
And he found it. I mean, thinking about his later roles.
Definitely. He was Sticky on Sons of Anarchy on FX. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Gritty role.
Very. And Al Cowlings in The People v. O.J. Simpson.
Yes. He was great in that.
He really was. Then you had Suits, Major Crimes, Sneaky Pete, and of course Dr. A.J. Austin on The Resident for quite a few years.
Right, until it ended.
Exactly. And even recent stuff like on 911 and Alert Missing Persons Unit. So a really varied career post-Cosby.
But not acting, too, right? He wasn't just an actor.
Not at all. He was a really talented bass player, a performance poet.
A poet.
Yeah, a spoken word artist. He actually won a Grammy in 2015. Best traditional R&B performance for a track called Jesus Children with Robert Glasper Experiment and Lala Hathaway.
Grammy winner.
And nominated again in 2022 for Best Spoken Word Poetry Album for Hiding in Plain View. So music and poetry were serious parts of his identity.
And how did he feel about the whole Theo thing later on? Was it a burden?
It sounds like it was complex,
Yeah.
He talked about wanting to distance himself, not because he hated Theo, but to separate Malcolm, the person, from the character.
I can imagine.
He said at 15, he thought Theo was kind of corny. And he mentioned someone once called him America's favorite white black boy, which, ouch, that must have hurt.
Yeah, that's rough.
But he learned, he said, to focus on the positive side, how much people loved the character and the show.
He also had some strong opinions, didn't he? I remember reading something about his views on hip-hop.
He did. He expressed the view that it had become, in his words, anti-black, which, stirred up a lot of debate about the N-word, violence in lyrics.
That whole documentation versus glorification argument.
Exactly. He definitely waded into that discussion. And his take on fame was interesting, too. He felt living in New York kept him grounded, gave him real perspective.
Kept him from getting carried away.
Right. And he felt a responsibility, he said, to represent his family, the values of The Cosby Show.
And his personal life. He seemed pretty private.
Very private, especially later on. But he did share some things. Like, he was initially skeptical about marriage, about having kids, said he wanted to be truly selfless first.
That's thoughtful.
Yeah. And he told this lovely story about meeting his wife. It was slow, no pressure, no expectations. And he realized she was the one, even thinking, well, if it didn't work out romantically, maybe they could co-parent. That's how right she felt for him.
That's quite something.
And he often mentioned they'd been together a decade without, a single argument or harsh word.
Wow. Is that even possible?
Apparently for them it was.
And he started a podcast recently too, right? Not All Hood.
Yeah, that's right. With Wusi Baraka and Candace Kelly. He saw it as a space for, vulnerability, exploring different sides of the black community.
A passion project towards the end.
Seems like it. And just to reiterate, he is survived by his wife and daughter. He always kept their identities very private, citing those privacy concerns.
Okay, so that's Malcolm-Jamal Warner. Now, let's pivot to the place where this story tragically ends, Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
So give us the basics. Where is it? What's it like?
Okay, so it's in Central America. You've got Nicaragua to the north, Panama to the southeast, then the Caribbean Sea on one side, Pacific Ocean on the other.
Pretty standard Central American geography.
Yeah, population around 5 million, land area, roughly 51,000 square kilometers. Capital, San Jose, that's the biggest city, maybe 350,000 people in the city itself, but the metro area is much larger, like 2 million.
Now, I know Costa Rica is kind of known for being different, politically speaking.
Very different, especially for the region. It's a stable constitutional democracy, a unitary presidential republic. But the really standout thing...
The army.
Exactly. They abolished their army permanently back in 1949.
Wow, permanently. After a civil war, wasn't it?
A brief one in 1948, yeah. Since then, they're one of the very few sovereign nations without a standing army.
So what do they do with all that money they save on military spending?
That's the key. That budget largely goes into healthcare and education.
You can probably see the results of that.
Oh, definitely. Their education spending as high was around 7% of the budget back in 2016, which is way above the global average of maybe 4.4%.
And that leads to...
A highly educated workforce. Literacy rate is like 97%. Plus, they have universal public education. Primary school is compulsory, and preschool and high school are free.
That's a massive investment in people.
Huge. And it connects to their economy, too. It's not just agriculture anymore, though that's still there. They've diversified into finance, corporate services, pharmaceuticals.
And tourism, right. Ecotourism specifically.
Yes, ecotourism is massive. They were pioneers, really. It's a major destination, and it brings in more foreign money now than, say, bananas and coffee combined. Has done since about 1999.
And they have those free trade zones, too.
Right, FTZs. They're designed to attract foreign companies, manufacturing, services. Amazon's a big employer there, for instance, or was back in 2016, planning to grow.
What are their main exports these days?
Things like medical instruments, which is interesting, bananas, tropical fruits still, but also integrated circuits, orthopedic appliances, a real mix.
And that environmental leadership, that seems like a core part of their identity, too.
Absolutely central. They had a goal for net zero carbon emissions by 2021, though that got pushed to 2050. But their renewable energy generation is incredible.
Like, how incredible?
Well, over 95% in 2023. And there was that famous period in 2019 where they ran on almost 100% renewables for 300 days straight.
300 days. That's amazing.
It really is. They even have a forest law from '96 that gives incentives for environmental services. So forestry isn't just about timber. It's about capturing carbon, protecting water sources, biodiversity, scenic beauty.
It sounds almost utopian. Are there downsides? Challenges?
Well, yeah, nowhere's perfect. A U.S. government report a few years back pointed out the need for infrastructure, upgrades, ports, roads, railways, water systems. And bureaucracy can apparently be a bit slow sometimes.
Okay, so practical challenges, but overall, the quality of life seems high. Exceptionally high. Their Human Development Index ranking is consistently good, 62nd globally in 2023, 5th in Latin America. Life expectancy is high, too, around 79 years back in 2010. Isn't there that blue zone there?
Yes. The Nicoya Peninsula, one of those few spots on Earth where people regularly live actively past 100.
Incredible. And they're happy, too, apparently.
Top of the charts, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
23rd in the 2023 World Happiness Report. They were #1 in the Happy Planet Index a couple of times back in 2009 and 2012.
Which brings us to Pura Vida.
Pura Vida. Yeah, it literally means pure life.
But it's more than just a translation, right?
Oh, yeah. It's like a national philosophy. It sums up this feeling of simple living, low stress, positivity, being relaxed. People use it as a greeting, like hello or how are you, or just as acknowledgement, like cool or okay.
It's really embedded in the culture.
Deeply. And the culture itself is a blend. You've got indigenous Mesoamerican and South American roots, Spanish colonial influence, African heritage.
So Spanish is the main language.
Yes, but other languages are recognized regionally too, like Mekatelu, which is a kind of Jamaican patois, and indigenous languages like Bribri reflect the ethnic diversity, mostly white or mestizo, but also mulatto, indigenous black populations.
What about things like food and sports?
Food's a blend too, naturally. Gallo pinto is maybe the most famous dish, rice and beans. Sports-wise, football, soccer is king.
They had that great World Cup run, didn't they?
Yeah, 2014 made it to the quarterfinals. And, fun fact, Costa Rica has 4 Olympic medals ever, all in swimming, and all won by 2 sisters, Sylvia and Claudia Pol.
Just two sisters won all their medals.
Yep. Quite the family achievement.
Okay, so we have this picture of Costa Rica, peaceful, happy, beautiful, focused on well-being.
Pura vida.
Pura vida. And then the connection.
Yeah. And this is where the two stories collide, tragically. The news, as we mentioned, is that Malcolm-Jamal Warner died on July 20th, 2025. He was on a family vacation in Limón, Costa Rica.
Limón on the Caribbean coast.
That's right. And reports indicate he was caught in a high current while swimming. The official cause of death, according to Costa Rican authorities, was asphyxia due to drowning.
Oh, that's just awful. The contrast is, it's incredibly stark, isn't it?
It really is.
You have this life, Malcolm-Jamal Warner's life, dedicated to navigating fame, finding personal fulfillment, building this rich identity.
Right.
And it ends so suddenly, so unexpectedly, in a place that's literally world famous for Pura Vida, for its peace, its beauty, its quality of life.
Yeah.
And think about how fiercely private he was about his family. Choosing a quiet vacation there makes sense, but for it to end like that, it's just heartbreakingly poignant.
It really is. And I think this awful event, it just underscores a difficult truth, doesn't it? That even in places celebrated for peace and happiness and natural beauty, the unpredictable, well, nature itself can be incredibly powerful and unforgiving.
Life can change in an instant anywhere.
Exactly. It's a sobering reminder, really, of that fragility, that balance between our plans, our lives, and the forces we can't control.
So this deep dive has really taken us through quite a range. We looked at the life and legacy of Malcolm-Jamal Warner, from Theo Huxtable to his dramatic work, his music, his personal philosophies.
A really complex figure.
And then we explored Costa Rica, this nation known for its unique approach to governance, its environmentalism, its whole Pura Vida ethos.
Yeah, a place with a very distinct identity.
And the connection, though tragic, really highlights how these seemingly separate threads can intertwine.
Absolutely. It shows how these unexpected intersections can actually give us a richer, maybe more nuanced understanding of both the individual journey and the character of a place. It makes you realize that sometimes the deepest insights come from connecting those dots you didn't even see were related.
It certainly gives you a lot to think about.
Definitely.
Which leads us to our final thought for you. What does it truly mean to build a lasting legacy, whether it's a personal one like Malcolm-Jamal Warner aimed for, or a national one like Costa Rica strives for, in a world where the most profound, the most impactful stories often arise from these completely unforeseen intersections of our private lives and these larger global narratives?
Yes, only thing that I'm worried about, punch you one of these pussy ass niggas in they mouth, then they film and they'll upload it. Suckers do anything for that clout. They'll trick you out of your position if you ain't gained up and you ain't here watching out. Internet bloggers, internet gangsters, who the snitches? I can't tell. On the dead homies and enemies podcast, the only podcast that I know won't tell. But I ain't tripping, I just pay attention to my own little business and I get the smell. I'm in another state, making another plate. Big plat place on my state. A plush hotel, just counting the mail. I do this shit and I do it well.